Round 6 of the STP Irish Tarmac Rally Championship, and the action switches to the deep south for the Uniroyal Cork 20 International. Both the top two seeds were driving Opel Manta 400s. Here we see the NDT example of Austin McHale, the 1983 Cork 20 and Irish Tarmac Rally champion. Seated at 2 in the dealer Opel Team Ireland car was the pre-event favourite Billy Coleman. Billy's comeback this year has been fairytale stuff. Having finished second in Galway, he went on to win both the Rotman Circuit and the Shed Isles Donegal International. If anybody was going to upset the Opel Roadshow, many people expected it to be Richie Healy. But alas, the West Cork and Wexford Rally Winners' Challenge finished when his clutch disintegrated on stage 1, Killavullen, making the Dubliner the first major retirement of the rally. Dublin motorcycle dealer Brendan Fagan in the Chevette started at number 4. He had started the season on a high note, winning in Galway, but sponsorship problems led to a limited programme for the remainder of the year. Also in a Vauxhall Chevette HSR was James Doherty from Adair. Former world hot rod champion Davy Evans in the Autotune Nissan 240 RS was seated at 8. John Coyne also had a higher Nissan 240 RS for the event. AJ Keating in his familiar TB3 Escort, followed by the Dublin Crystal Vauxhall Chevette HSR of Mike Dunyan, the Tony Kelly sponsored Escort RS 1800 of James Cullen, while Pat Dunyan in the ex-John Coyne Sunbeam was at number 22. Stage 3 Ballyclaw Village and well-known competitor Frank O'Mahony was all out to thrill the spectators in the Rotman's course car. By now a definite pattern was beginning to emerge. The two leading Mantas were in a race of their own. McHale, who had a problem with his brakes, was second. He trailed Coleman by 19 seconds at this point. The Mill Street farmer was a little bit worried about his brakes, but despite this had set the fastest time, 4 minutes 22 seconds on this stage, 14 seconds faster than teammate McHale. Fagan was third, but already trailed the two Mantas by 46 seconds. While Sam Hawkins was not happy in pace notes and thought he might have been faster driving on the blind. With 3 stages gone, you're having slight problems with your brakes. Just how serious is it?
Well, I wouldn't say it's serious, but it's a problem we've had for the last 2 or 3 events. I just haven't been able to balance the brakes properly, and they're stopping the car pretty well, but I just can't brake as deep into corners as I would like to. But we might be able to sort it out.
With 3 stages gone, you're in second place at the moment. How have you found those first 3 stages?
We found it very slippy. Other than that, we have no problems. The car's going very well, and it's room to dry up. It seems to be drying up a bit now. You know, it's very warm. There seems to be a bit of a breeze out. But,
the battle between the two Mantas continues unabated. The gap between McHale and Coleman was now down to 14 seconds in the Corkman's favour. Fagan was holding down a steady third, but was by now almost a minute behind the two Opels. Doherty was 6th, but finding that the wet and slippery conditions something of a handful. Davy Evans, after the retirement of Coyne, was up to 4th place and was having a trouble-free run. As Austin McHale blasts his way through the village of Killavullen, the gap between him and his teammate Coleman had now increased to 38 seconds. The hordes of dedicated Coleman supporters were in jubilant mood. Fagan was still third, but by now almost 3 minutes behind the two Opals. Brendan's comment at service, "I am leading Division 2, the Mantas are in a league of their own," summed it all up. Doherty's troubles continue as he goes through the wet and slippery stages with dry weather slick tyres. The Limerick driver's problems ensured that Davy Evans held an undisputed 4th place. Junyan was now happy with his new engine and was giving it all he'd got. Dougie Hoare in the biggest Skona was having a worrying time due to bad brakes. AJ Keating's interest in the proceedings is about to end. It has been a very disappointing season for the Kenturk Baker. A hard-charging Ray Benskin gets by Dan Daly, who had again made a wrong tyre choice, and a broken driver's seat was not helping the situation. As McHale goes through the final stage on Saturday evening, the gap between himself and Coleman had now increased to almost a minute. Coleman having set 9 fastest times to McHale's 3. Fagan was third, having lost a little time due to a wrong tyre choice. James Doherty, despite his many problems with tyres all day, was 5th. Davy Evans on his first trip to Cork was still 4th. Pat Junyan, who had now the Sunbeam Lotus engine fully ran in, was 6th overall. Former Donegal clerk of the course, James Cullen, was off the road on stage 10. The car was not damaged, but 4.5 minutes were lost, dropping him back to 7th place overnight. Sam Hawkins, who had a troubled day with engine and gearbox problems, finally retired with rear suspension gave trouble on stage 8. Also out was Billy Daly when his Golf GTI broke its gearbox. Only 40 of the original 57 crews were left in the rally. Brian, the slogan for Uniral tyres says that they're tread and shoulders above the rest. Do you think the Uniral Cork 20 is a way ahead of the other rounds in the championship?
Yes. Well, we feel that there's a special flair, a special excitement attached to the Cork 20 rally. We became associated with the rally for the first time last year and certainly lived up to every promise we've been told about.
Clerk of the course, Brian Curtin, Saturday night, has all the planning and preparation been worthwhile?
So far, yes, I'm very pleased the way things are going. Today went off very well, both from the, I would say, the competitors' point and the marshalling point and the club's point, and I'm very, very hopeful that our sponsors, Uniral, are quite happy, and I think they are. Thank you.
Billy, the last few stages yesterday evening were very, very slippy. Did that cause you much problems?
Well, I think it was the same for everybody, and you know, nobody likes driving in that kind of condition. But as I say, it was the same for every driver. So I'd say it won't be much better today. It's bright now, but I'd say where we're heading into it could be, you know, into the hills. It could be fairly damp. So
news of what had happened was beginning to come true. On leaving the Lissard service area on the long route from Cork, the oil light had come on due to a broken oil pump drive pulley. Fortunately, Austin stopped the car in time and no damage was done. The service barge was in hand and carried out the necessary repairs. But the Rathcoole Plantar contractor collected a 9-minute road penalty equal to 90 seconds in stage times. He dropped a further 27 seconds on the first Sunday stage, Mushroom Mountain, when he overshot at the first junction. The battle for the Uniral Cork 20 was almost over. Davy Evans was now under tremendous pressure from James Doherty after the Marraman had put the big Nissan off into a bog for 45 seconds towards the end of the Malacanish stage. The Sunday leg of the rally consisted of 3 stages to the north and west of Macroom, each repeated 3 times. The day started dry but dull, and most drivers, not knowing what to expect up there in the hills, choose intermediate tyres to be on the safe side. Brian Nelson was 8th and was still trying to come to grips after his big off in Wexford a few weeks previously. Hugh Toohey and Con Murphy had made a dramatic dash to West Cork on Saturday night for a replacement rear axle. They were now going okay and were just inside the top 10. Dougie Hoare was unable to make pace notes for the event and had to drive all the stages on the blind. McHale was not giving up yet. He set the fastest time on this stage, Ballyvoig, taking 2 seconds back off Coleman. But Coleman, who set an amazing fast time on the first stage, was still reluctant to trust the brakes of the Manta. Fagan had lost a little time when he damaged a wheel in a pothole after the first Sunday stage. Evans was still 4th, but the gap between the Nissan and the Vauxhall of Doherty was getting smaller by the mile. Pat Dunnion now had to cope with a damaged thumb when the steering of the Sunbeam had kicked suddenly. Cullen, like Fagan, also dropped a little time on the first stage of the day with a damaged wheel. Ray Benskin was having a steady drive and was 9th overall. Austin in second place overnight, but you're running away down the field at the moment. What seems to be the problem?
The problem this morning going into the first stage, the drive pulley to the oil pump still sheared in it. So we're lucky enough, the engine isn't damaged. We thought it was damaged, and the first stage the oil light flickered, just going onto it, but we have it sorted out now, it seems okay.
But you didn't lose any stage time as a result, I presume?
We did. We lost over 30 seconds on the first stage. I think it was 33 seconds to Billy, and then we were fast over the last two as far as I know. I think he took 3 seconds off in the second last one. But, you know, other than that.
And what's the exact gap between yourself and Billy at the moment now?
Some less around 1:24, minute 24.
Thanks, Austin. Austin McHale at that interview session had forgot to take into account the road penalties he had collected that morning. At that point in time, almost 4 minutes separated Coleman and himself. The rain was now beginning to come down and making the remaining stages very slippy and tricky. Fagan was still driving at his own pace, content to stay third. Davy Evans and Roy Kernahan in the Autotune car were still successfully holding off James Doherty. Pat Dunnion and Kevin Kiley were happy in 6th and having a trouble-free run today. Billy, with well over a minute of a lead and 3 stages left, do you think that you're home and dry at this stage?
Well, I think you can never say that, but surely we must have an excellent chance now, barring a puncture or something like that. We should be okay, I think.
And no problems at all with the car today or yesterday, I think?
No, none at all. The only problem we had was, I think I told you earlier, was the brakes, and we've those fairly well sorted now, I think.
Some threatening clouds are overhead at the moment. What will you use for these last 3 stages? Are they going to stay in intermediates?
Well, I think we probably will. There's no point in taking risks now at this point. So the intermediate is quite a good tire, and those ones are quite good on a dry road anyway. So you know, they should be okay, I think.
In 10th place in the Talbot Sunbeam was Hugh Toomey and Con Murphy. Bruce and Martin Blake finished 9th, having been slowed by back axle problems on Sunday. Ray Benskin and Oliver Welsh drove a steady rally in the Glenside Holmes Escort to finish 8th. Despite some late panic with a damaged gearbox, Brian Elson and Robbie Philpott brought the difficult-to-handle Corey Coltra home in 7th position. Sixth place went to James Cullen, navigated by Seamus Gormley in the Tony Kelly car's Escort, after a brilliant drive by the Letterkenny man. Following a rather slow start on Saturday, Pat Dunnion and Kevin Kiley finished 5th overall in the ex-John Kine Sunbeam. After fighting off numerous challenges, Davy Evans and Roy Kernahan finished 4th overall in the Autotune Nissan. Brendan Fagan had failed to finish a Cork 20 rally from 13 starts, but his perseverance was rewarded with an excellent 3rd place in 1984. Austin McHale and Christy Farrell in the NDT Opel Mante had given it all they'd got, but still at 2nd for the runners-up spot after such a brilliant drive. Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan added the Uniroyal Cork 20 title to their long list of successes this year so far, and in doing so became the Irish Tarmac Champions for 1984. Billy must now be the most sought-after driver in the British Isles, with several works teams queuing up for his services. This has been a Cork Video Services production, produced and directed by Flor Griffin, commentary by Michael White. We leave you with these pictures of King Billy, the 1984 Irish Tarmac Champion.
At the finish ceremony outside Jury's Hotel in Cork City, Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan prepare to spray the winner's champagne for the 3rd time in 1984.
This is like a pack of standing gentlemen. So there goes the champagne. Let's hear the cheers for Billy Coleman and Ronan Morgan. We've also got Basil Gower from Irish Tarmac.
Although Evans was 2nd in the championship after the Manx Rally, even a few more points in Cork are not enough to put him within reach of Coleman, who has the title secured. 1 round to go.